What do you think trash has to do with forgiveness? Let's talk a little bit about landfills. So, you probably know what a landfill is. When I learned really about landfills and really understood what landfills have to do with forgiveness, took place when my first time in Africa. So I've been to Africa, I think 5, 6 times at this point. Absolutely love doing work in Africa. But I was in Nigeria first time. I've been working with pastors in a small town called Akure down the southern part of Nigeria, and we were heading back to Lagos. So Lagos is by far the biggest city in Nigeria, one of the biggest cities in Africa, and also one of the most polluted cities in Africa and in the world. So I remember that, just like, again, we were driving up towards the city, and I sort of wiped my forehead, and it was all pitch black just from having a little crack of the window open just to get a little bit of air. But I noticed as we got close to Lagos that I saw these mountains, like these big old hills, all of them the same size, out in the horizon. And I was like, what is that? I couldn't see what it was before I got closer, and I was like, I knew there were no like actual real mountains or hills right there. So I was like, what is it? Got closer and I could see what it was. It was landfills. It was a lot of landfills, a lot of these mountains of plastic trash that they had put there outside of the city of Lagos. So why do we do landfills? We think that if we could just sort of take the trash and put it in a big old pile outside of our cities, and we can put some dirt and some grass on it, and then over time, the dirt and the grass will start to grow there. I grew up close to a landfill, and we'll think that we have dealt with the problem. We've dealt with the problem of this trash. Of course, that's not true. It doesn't actually solve anything. It pushes it away, and we don't actually deal with it. And if you don't know that that's true, just go and drive by a landfill on a hot summer day. We have a landfill not too far from where we live here outside of Nashville. And when I drive by on a day where it's super hot, your nose will tell you very clearly we have not actually dealt with the problem. We have just pushed it aside. We've just covered it up. You know what? That's what we do with our own souls as well. When we get hurt, when we get rejected, when we get misunderstood, when we get abused, when something terrible happens to us, we just push it aside. There's so many conversations I've had with people where I ask them, so you experienced this and this bad, terrible, horrible thing in your life. So what did you do with that feeling? And they'll tell me, nothing. What do they mean by that? What do you mean by that? You mean that you pushed it aside. You started building yourself a little landfill here, right? So you just push it aside, and then your hope is it'll just sort of disappear, right? If I don't think about it, if I don't notice it, if I don't name it, it's not there, it won't bother me, I'll be fine. That's unfortunately how we learn to deal with all the pain that we go through as human beings. Two kinds of people in this world: those who get rejected, those who get rejected a lot. All of us experience pain, suffering, rejection that causes damage to our souls. We don't know what to do with that, so we just push it aside. And we hope that this landfill of hurt emotions that we have inside of us won't actually affect us. The truth, of course, is it will affect us. The bitterness, the resentment, the anger, the hatred that is brewing, that is growing in that landfill of hurt emotions does affect you, will continue to affect you, will continue to affect every area of your life. But it's done in a way where you don't even notice it, because it just sort of seeps into your relationships, into your conversations, into your way of thinking about yourself, into your way of thinking about God, into your way of thinking about other people. You don't even notice it. But it's because of that landfill of hurt emotions that you didn't deal with. Jesus is inviting you and I to experience real forgiveness. What he will do is something that you don't like initially. He'll have to actually take this stuff out. He'll have to look at it with you. He'll have to go through a process with you where you get to own and hold everything that has happened to you. You have to, in order for you to put it behind you, in order for you to disown it, you have to own it first. So that's the first step of this type of forgiveness, where we look at your emotional landfill. You know what? You can't do this by yourself. Neither could I. I needed help from helpers, from mentors, from counselors to help me dive into my landfill that I had just built inside of my life and that I had ignored, and that was too scary, too dark of a place for me to go by myself. And that's where counseling, that's where coaching comes in as a helpful way of just walking into that space with someone who's been there before. Someone who's a trusted tour guide where you know that, hey, this person is not going to be freaked out no matter what's there, no matter what I've been hiding, no matter what it is that we'll find when we look into this reality of this emotional landfill. But Jesus wants to set you free. So yes, you have to own it. Yes, you have to feel it as well. But then as you learn to forgive, you put it behind you and it's gone. It's actually gone. You don't have to deal with it again. The bitterness, the resentment can be taken out of you and it doesn't have to affect your life ever again. That is the invitation of Christ. That is the kind of transformation that he wants to bring to all of us through forgiveness. So this is the process where he highlights what's wrong. He brings hope and healing to you. You walk through the reality of forgiveness, and you get to experience the peace, the love, the joy, the hope that you've always been wanting, that you've always been longing for, but that you didn't get to experience because of these emotional landfills that you just didn't know how to deal with.